Good evening to one and all. Myself Tejas Sonje from Team Media Racers. Welcome you to our first ever YouTube live webinar on basics of building a Formula race car. This would be a 2-day session where we will be covering the basic knowledge and various steps which must be taken into consideration while building a Formula student race car. It's good to see that so many auto enthusiasts and budding engineers are present here. Before starting with the session, firstly, I would like to thank our respective principal, Dr. S.M. Deshpande sir, HOD Dr. Purandare sir, Senior Faculty Advisor Dr. K.R. Patil sir, and our Faculty Advisor Professor A.D. Desle sir for giving us a chance to showcase our knowledge and share our experiences from the Formula student world with you people. They have always been very supportive and guided us through all the times. Okay, now moving towards some basic questions like what is exactly Formula Student, how it all started, and how our college participated in various events held throughout the year in our country. Now, I would like to start with the SAE International and SAE India. SAE International, that is Society of Automotive Engineers International, which was previously known as just SAE, is a globally active professional association and standards developing organization for engineering professionals in various industries. This society was formed in the year 1905, and the SAE India, which was incorporated in 2001, is the Indian club in the SAE International. This SAE organizes a number of events throughout all domains for engineering undergraduates and postgraduates. So the Formula Student section is one of them. In these events, which are held annually around the world, teams design, build, test, and race a small scale Formula style racing car. And the cars are judged on various criteria, which we'll be looking further. Now, specifically coming to SAE India, it organizes three major events, namely SAE Baha, SAE Supra, and SAE Eficycle, where Baha is a ATV, that is all terrain vehicle competition. Supra is a Formula style race car competition. Eficycle is an energy efficient three-wheeled vehicle competition. But in order to take part in these events, the college should be a member of the SAE India Club. So in 2013, our college started a MMCOE SAE Collegiate Club. And under this club, our college participates in all the three major events where Team Abedya Racing participates in SAE Baha, Team Abedya Racers participates in SAE Supra, and Team Achilles participates in SAE Eficycle. Now coming towards to Team Abedya Racers. Formed in 2017, Team Abedya Racers is a team of auto enthusiastic engineers from various domains which design, build, test and race a Formula style race car. The team has been participating in SAE Supra since 2017 and with only one thought in mind, that is one team, one dream. The team is climbing the ladder of success as the years pass by. The team has been successful in setting its foot in the enormous Formula student world and will continue to do so. On the screen, we can see the three glorious beauties, the roaring beasts, which were built by the respective teams, that is TAR 1.0 in 2007, 2.0 in 2018, and TAR 3.0 in 19. Now looking towards the achievement, Team TAR 1.0 successfully managed to grab an AIR 28 in the debut year itself and also was one of the fastest debutant teams to clear the technical inspection. In the second year, the team returned and grabbed AI-24 and also were 7 in business and sales presentation. In the third year, the team's Roaring Beast grabbed AIR-14 and was second in acceleration event. That means our car was second fastest among all of them. And also our faculty advisor, Dr. K.R. Patil sir, won the prestigious Dronacharya Award. Now coming towards the end of introduction, I would like to put some light on the team's future goals. We will be participating in Formula Bharat 2021, which is another major event, and also in Supra 2021. Also in coming years, team will shift from combustion to electric category. Now some further instructions. You can ask your questions in the chat box, but we will discuss them in the Q&A session, which will be held in the last 15 to 20 minutes of the session. Also, headphones or earphones are recommended for best experience. Coming next, there is a short video for all of you of our testing sessions and some event tracks. So fasten your seat belts and get ready for the ride. Thank you.
Greetings to all. I will now introduce you to process of building a system. Every year, Team Abede Racers carry out an aptitude test for searching new talent. So, every student who desires to be a part of our team needs to clear an aptitude test and two interviews. First, there is a technical interview and then there is a non-technical interview. After clearing all three rounds, you become a part of our team. After team formation, team has to pass through four different phases. Each member is allotted to different department. Departments and their system are discussed in later section. So first, there is literature phase. In literature phase, we collect data from various sources like books, reference journals, FSI papers, last year's testing data, online videos, etc. It is very important to clear your basic understanding of the system. This includes knowing about components, different parameters which affect design of the system, interdependency of different departments, understanding concepts, studying rules given by organizers, and knowing formulae required for designing. As an engineer, you get to learn beyond your syllabus books. You get to explore different subjects in depth. Not only reading these concepts, but you also get to implement the same. Once we clear our basics, we can now move on to second phase. The second phase includes designing and analyzing system. Based on what we learned in literature phase, we decide different parameters for designing a component. It also includes comparing alternatives of the same. Here, we get to learn different options which perform the same function and rationally decide which can be used. For instance, bevel gears and universal joint can be compared for deciding which component can work efficiently, and ultimately we end up learning both. Here our knowledge of physics plays important part. For designing, we need to consider different forces. Sometimes they are needed to be found and resolved. This is very important for deciding safety parameters. Whole working of system depends on how effectively we analyze those forces. We also take help of different sensors which gives us data test results for the same. When we build a vehicle, we have to give importance to all systems equally. So we have to study interdependency of different systems on each other. For instance, if we change suspension hard points, it affects steering geometry as well. Also, roll cage or the chassis have to adjust their design accordingly. Thus, it is very important to know what exactly happens when you change a parameter. In a good way, this helps us knowing all of our vehicle as a single system. Once parameters are decided, we check them on different softwares like ANSYS, Hypermesh, and sometimes we do practical testing. This includes meshing, applying forces, supports, which were applied during designing, and checking results. If these are safe by calculation, these softwares give us a more clearer picture of what could happen if something goes wrong. Helps us determining factor of safety. Once we clear all these hurdles, we are all set to our third phase, manufacturing. Manufacturing is most wonderful phase. In this phase, your design comes to reality. In manufacturing phase, you get to explore different markets in the city, chance to different manufacturing processes in industry like gear cutting, 3D printing, gear hobbing, laser cutting, water jet, etc. Choosing correct materials is one of the crucial job. Most fun part is in-house manufacturing. We get to try our hands on different manufacturing processes like buffing, grinding, surface grinding, welding. Also, we get to use lathe machines, milling machines for manufacturing different components. This also includes making molds, mixing resins, applying FRPs, etc. You will learn about all these processes in later section. Once we manufacture all our components, including a single nut bolt or sleeve to whole chassis, we now assemble them together to run as a system. This part is difficult but interesting. Once assembled and painted, we shift to our fourth and last phase of testing. Testing can be done in various ways. First, there is checking of all the components. Then we check clearances. That is, there should be sufficient space for each component. No two components should collide. After this, all checking, we start our vehicle and test it under different circumstances. Rigorous testing is done for finding out faults, errors which can occur. Also, testing for specific event is done. For example, here in second video, you can see testing is done for acceleration event, and there is similarly it is done for a braking event. I will now give you a short introduction to all departments. This will help you to understand whole webinar more effectively. So we work in 7 different departments. As you can see here, there is a roll cage department, transmission department, suspension department, brakes department, steering department, electrical and electronics departments, and aerodynamics department. Let's take a look at their assemblies and important components. Note that this is a very short introduction for understanding further session in a better way. Let's see our first department, roll cage department. Roll cage department designs the chassis, seat, nose, firewall and several other components. It is very important to follow proper triangulation. Also, chassis is designed according to ergonomics and rules given by the organizers. At the event site, these rules are thoroughly checked. Selection of proper material for sustaining forces as well as containing whole system is necessary for chassis. We use different softwares for designing. This includes CATIA, and for analyzing we use ANSYS and HyperMesh. Our next department is transmission department. Transmission can be divided into two subsections, powertrain and drivetrain. These two have different functions, which we will run in further section of this webinar. Main purpose is to transmit the power generated by engine to wheels. You can only assume how many components it takes to assemble whole transmission system. Choosing a correct engine, designing components like sprockets, engine mounts, differentials accurately is a crucial job. This also includes calculating forces, as well as knowledge of fluid mechanics and thermodynamics is necessary. A well-designed transmission system delivers a great performance. Different softwares such as CATIA, ANSYS, Ricardo, and some others are used for designing and analyzing purpose. Next, we have suspension department. Suspension of any vehicle plays important part in stability of it. Suspension has arms, CV hubs, upright, bell crank, anti-roll bars, dampers, etc. These components work together to stabilize the vehicle and stops it from rolling over. Absorption of shocks and preventing transmission of it to chassis is one of the challenge of this department. Lowering CG is necessary. Designing of arms, anti-roll bars, sleeves, bell cranks is done on CATIA software. For visualizing what could happen under different circumstances like bumps, we use Lotus software. This software gives us an idea of location of CG and helps us fixing hard points. ANSYS for analyzing all components is used. So, our next department is brakes. It is important for a Formula vehicle to have an efficient braking system. For stopping the vehicle, all four wheels are needed to be locked at the same time. Braking system includes following components. As wheel rotates at higher RPM, tough wheel ends are necessary. These wheel ends and pedal systems are designed on CATIA and analyzed accurately by applying forces using ANSYS. Detailed explanation on forces and design will be provided in later sections. Then there is steering department. Steering system allows the driver to guide vehicle. It gives vehicle directional stability. Changing a single parameter can affect whole vehicle. Oversteer, understeer, neutral steer, and are some conditions in which behavior of vehicle changes. Thus, to avoid instability and guiding vehicle properly on various parameters and mechanism is decided. Universal joint, rack and pinion system, Ackermann mechanism, inner outer angles will be discussed. Next, we have aerodynamics department. Aerodynamics, as the name suggests, deals with flow of air over the vehicle. This addition to vehicle helps in reducing drag, maximizing downforce. The whole wings are made up of carbon fiber. Their design determines functioning of the vehicle. This helps us during cornering. We use CATIA, ANSYS and some other softwares for designing and analyzing. It affects on overall performance of the vehicle. Lastly, we have electronics department. We have various sensors and switches placed on different sites for different purposes. ECU or the engine control unit collects data from all these sensors and changes next input accordingly. Here we can see a throttle position center, TMAP sensor, also known as temperature manifold absolute pressure sensor, O2 sensor. These sensors gives us some important information which can be used for changing parameters. Hence, in this picture, we can see harness and these are load cells. Load cells are used to calculate forces. This gives us instantaneous information and are used for testing and designing purposes. When all these work together in a system, we have a perfect vehicle. So, this was just a short introduction to all systems. Detailed literature and design is explained in next section of this webinar. Stay tuned.
Hello everyone, myself Aniket. I will guide you about the inventory. So first of all, let's understand the meaning of inventory. According to definition, it is a complete list of items such as property, goods in stock, that is actually the material we use for manufacturing our vehicle, or the content of a building are known as inventory. So inventory looks forward for managing and handling of tool as well as workshop in a proper manner. Here the property refers to our vehicle. The content of building is the workshop and tools. Thanks to our college, they have provided us an working space, which we call it as a workshop, and provide us permission to use other machines that are available in our college for the manufacturing purposes. Here in workshop, where we not only build racing car, but also we build some memories. We build our team. We create a bonding which lasts forever and much more. So now let's move on to the tools section. So here are various tools. I have categorized it in different forms to understand it easily. These various tools are categorized as follows. These are power tools, fasteners and fastening tools, hand tools, miscellaneous, safety equipments, welding equipments, measuring tool and building tools. devices. So these are some power tools which we use. Grinding machine, also known as angle grinding machine, soldering gun, jigsaw, and drill machine are the examples of power tools. Now these tools actually consume power for their operation, hence they are known as power tools. These are fastener and fastening tools. These are hand tools. Few examples of these are few examples of miscellaneous and safety equipments. Yeah, obviously when working in a workshop, safety is the first concern. These are welding equipments, tungsten inert gas known as TIG, also known as gas tungsten arc welding, MIG, which is metal inert gas, also known as gas metal arc welding. So we use both workshop. These are the examples of measuring tools, and these are the holding devices which we use in our workshop. These are actually so yeah, this is all about inventory and tools. Thank you.
Hello everyone, myself Sumit. So we are going to have a discussion on some basic concepts and what are the things to be done in literature. So there are four phases. First is literature, design, manufacturing, and testing. So over the year, around 1.5 month is spent on literature. So it contributes to around 14% of the total time duration. Literature is any written work or a book which is dedicated to a particular topic or a content. So before starting the design, you must know some steps which are required for designing. So we can just say that literature is found out to be a base or a foundation for the design phase. So main question arises from where literature starts with finding out the previous year's faults and trying to find out the solution for these faults. Second aspect is rulebook. Rulebook is important aspect considering the technical inspection. So while designing any component or a system, it must always conform to the rules which are mentioned in the rulebook. Any reference books, manuals or handbooks which are available on a particular system, these are referred during the literature. Internet is another important source from where literature can be collected. Surfing any system or component on internet or just watching any videos related to a particular system is also done in literature phase. So research paper published by any organization like ARI or Society of Automotive Engineers, these are also considered while doing the literature. Overview of the literature. So we'll be seeing what are the components in a particular system. So starting with vehicle dynamics, the important components which are there, uh, these are shock absorbers, A-arms, rack and pinion, steering wheel, universal joint. Second is transmission department, which includes engine, intake assembly, differential, CV joint and cooling system. Next is brakes department, which has components master cylinder, disc and caliper, pedal assembly and wheel ends. Chassis department, it includes chassis, firewall, seat and driver harness. Aerodynamics department, it includes front wings, rear wings, a diffuser and nose. Vehicle dynamics. Vehicle dynamics includes two major systems, suspension system and steering system. So now what are the functions which are performed by this system? So now firstly is to absorb the shocks and vibrations and damp these absorbed shocks and vibrations using dampers. So now this is the primary function of the system. Secondly is to provide the directional stability, that is to control the direction of to maximize the contact patch. Contact patch is the contact between the tire and the road surface, that is to provide maximum amount of friction between the tire and the road surface. Comfort is another secondary function of this system. So its function is that to provide a better ride quality. Steering stability, to provide good handling and steering characteristics, is another important function of vehicle dynamics. So starting with the suspension system, so we'll be first considering spring. So spring is nothing but elastic member that is used to store the energy. So we have day-to-day life applications related to spring, right from automobile suspension systems to the watches that we wear. So it has different functions to perform, but it is used in suspension system to store the energy. So a good spring is that which has maximum restoring force. So it directly relates to the uh, elastic property of a material. So steel has good Young's modulus. So mostly steel alloys or spring steels, these are used as a material for spring. So there are different materials which are available for the selection of the spring. So we have considered high carbon steel, which has more chances to fail. Next component is the upright. So upright is the part of the wheel end assembly. So its major function is to link between these two parts, that is the stationary part from the chassis which is connected through the arms, and to connect to the wheels, that is the rotating part. So it is designed as per the suspension parameters geometry, like camber, caster, etc. So this is the rack and pinion. Now rack and pinion, it is used in the steering system. Now it is used to convert this rotary motion of the steering wheel to the linear motion of these tie rods. Now these tie rods are connected to the wheel end assembly, which in turn is used to steer the wheels. Now this rack and pinion is enclosed inside this housing. Now these are the various components of the steering system. Now this is the steering wheel. This one is the universal joint. As you can see, we will discuss it later. Now the rack and pinion is generally used to transfer this motion, that is the uh, pinion. This is this rotary motion from the steering column, while it transfers this motion to the rack. Now rack transfers this linear motion to the tie rods. Now we start our literature with the gear terminologies. So we study different gear terminologies, such as what is meant by pitch, what is a module, etc. So all these parameters, these are used while designing the rack and pinion. Now the next one is the universal joint. As you can see in the figure, this one is the universal joint. Now it is used here to connect the two shafts which are inclined at an angle. Now this universal joint has a greater degree of articulation, so it is widely used in the various systems. So starting with transmission department, engine is the heart of the vehicle. Therefore, selecting engine is an important criteria. Now, as per the rule book, engine limit is about 710 cc. Therefore, we have gone through various engines within this limit. So we found that KTM 390 cc engine is the best. So we have selected it on certain factors. So firstly is the it produces a power of about 43 bhp and a torque of about 37 newton meter. Generally, longer strokes gives you more torque, and wider bores gives you more revolution, that it produces more power. Therefore KTM 390cc has wider bore as well as longest stroke. Therefore we have selected it. Now next is the cc. Engine has 390cc, cc refers to cubic centimeter. It denotes the engine size or engine volume. So it refers to total volume of air fuel mixture which is displaced inside the engine cylinder. Now next is the bhp. Bhp is brake horsepower. It is used for measurement of power without considering any transmission system losses or other auxiliary components. Now next one is the power to weight ratio. KTM 396 engine has lower weight compared to other engines, therefore it gives a better advantage over the others. Now next one is the intake assembly. Now intake assembly, it consists of following components. Firstly is the air filter. Now the function of air filter is to clean and filter the air which gets sucked inside the cylinder. Now next is the throttle body. Now throttle body is a tube with a valve which is known as a butterfly valve, which controls the amount of air which gets entered into the engine cylinder. Now it is actuated with the help of a throttle cable. It is a cable which is connected to the driver's accelerator pedal, sorry. So it controls the amount of air which gets inside the engine cylinder. Now next is the restrictor. We have used Venturi as a restrictor. Venturi increases the velocity as well as it reduces the pressure drop. So we have considered Venturi. So other than Venturi, orifice plate is also used, but it produces more amount of pressure drop, therefore we have not used. So next is plenum. So plenum is nothing but it is a pressurized air. So it is nothing but pressurized air enclosure which increases the pressure of the air, so to produce more amount of power to the engine. Next one is the sprocket. So sprocket is another component of drivetrain assembly. So while doing literature we have considered following points. Firstly is the types of drives. So basically there are three types of drive: chain drive, belt drive and gear drives. So we have gone for chain drive. So various terms related to it we have covered in our literature. So like gear ratio is nothing but number of teeth on driven gear to that of the driver gear. So selecting a proper gear ratio is also an important factor while selecting a sprocket. So number of teeth on a sprocket, these are selected according to the gear ratio which is needed. So the next component is differential. So differential is a component of the drivetrain which is used to produce the power to the wheels. Now it splits up the torque which allows each output shaft to rotate at a different speed. Now when a car is taking a turn, outer wheels have to travel a greater distance as compared to that of the inner wheels. If there is no differential, there is a tendency of the wheel to skid. Therefore, hence to avoid this, a differential is used. Now differential, what does it? Reduces the speed of the inner wheel which have to travel a smaller distance, and it will increase the speed of the outer wheels which will have to travel a longer distance. So basically there are bevel gears which are used for these differential. Now there are four types of differential. You can see in figure, open type of a differential is used. Other than this, there is a spool type, limited slip type differential, as well as a locking type of a differential. So now the next component is CV joint. So CV joint is used to transmit the power to the non-aligned shaft. So power from the differential is transmitted to the wheels by the shaft and the CV joints. So CV joint, it consists of a spider which is a three yoke. This has a three pointed yokes which fits into the cup which has a three similar grooves. So this assembly together forms the CV joint. So CV joint usually has a greater strength, and we can find it in automobile rear axles. It's quite it is quietly used. So uh, it has great strength, but its degree of articulation is less. as compared to the other. Therefore it has limited applications. So another point, material, another material used is hardened steel or any other steel material is used. Other than steel, aluminum is also aluminum 700 series is also used, but aluminum usually wears more quickly compared to that of the steel. Therefore uh, steel is quietly used. So now the next system is the cooling system. So cooling system, it consists of following components: radiator cap, coolant reservoir, cooling fan, and hoses. Now the radiator, it is a type of a heat exchanger. Now what is that? It transfers the heat from the fluid inside to the air which is in the outside. Therefore cooling the fluid which therefore it cools the fluid which is from the which is coming from the engine. This prevents the engine from overheating. So basically the function of the radiator is to remove the heat from the engine which is produced during the combustion of the fuel in the combustion chamber. Now the radiators usually use either water or different types of coolant. So coolant is circulated from the cylinder block where the heat is transferred from combustion chamber walls uh, to the fluid which is collected into the inlet tank of the radiator. So basically, as you can see in the figure, there are two tanks. One is inlet tank, one is a top tank and a bottom tank. So now the hot engine so the hot fluid from the engine usually enters into the radiator through these hoses uh, and enters into this top tank. Now this water is cooled with the help of the coolant, and it is transferred back to the engine through this outlet tank. Now the radiator consists of the fins which are generally used to increase the heat transfer rate. So generally the radiator works on the principle of convection. So a cooling fan is also employed beyond this, which pulls the air into this. So basically there are two types of fan, a push type and a pull type of a fan. So air is pulled to increase the amount of heat transfer rate. Radiator cap. Now the radiator cap, it maintains a constant high pressure in the cooling system which increases the boiling temperature of the engine coolant. Now this increased temperature helps in easy dissipation of heat to the atmosphere because high difference in the radiator temperature and the ambient temperature. So it basically consists of two valves. High pressure valve maintains the pressure in the system. It opens to release the coolant to the coolant reservoir. If pressure increases more than a limit, low pressure valve or a vacuum valve opens to allow the flow of coolant back to the radiator when engine cools down. Now next one is the coolant reservoir. So coolant reservoir, it stores the coolant which flows out from the radiator cap. Now when engine temperature and the coolant pressure rises, it also allows the flow of coolant back to the radiator when engine cools down. Now due to this avoids the loss of coolant and frequent stop ups. So starting with the brakes department, we'll be seeing what is a master cylinder. Now we know that all the hydraulic systems, these are based on Pascal's law. Now what is Pascal's law? Pascal law is nothing but it states that whenever any pressure is applied through a fluid which is inside a closed system, now it will transmit that pressure in all the direction throughout the fluid. Now what is the function of master cylinder? It usually acts as a storage or a reservoir for the brake fluid. Now whenever a driver presses the brake pedal, now the master cylinder will force this fluid through the towards the calipers. Now next is dot. Now we usually know that dot 3 or dot 4 brake fluids, these are used in the vehicles that we use. Now what this dot signify? Now this dot stands for Department of Transportation. Now these dot fluids, these are generally glycol based fluids, now which usually have a tendency to absorb the moisture from the air. Now dot 3 and dot 4, these are most commonly used brake fluid. Now dot 3 usually has a lower boiling point than dot 4. Another new fluid which has come, it is dot 5, which is silicon based fluid. Now silicon generally does not have the tendency to absorb the waters, so it is quietly now used. Next is bore diameter. Now smaller bore diameter are always these are always selected, because we know that smaller the area, more will be the pressure. Therefore based on this, smaller bore diameter are always these are preferably used. Now next is disc. Now disc is the main rotating part of this system, which is usually connected to the hub. Now discs are manufactured by using the casting process. Now casting process is nothing but it is process in which a molten material, that is liquid material, is usually poured into a mold with which contains cavity of the shape which we want. Now then this then this material is allowed to solidify. Now this solidified part is then known as a casting. Now discs are usually casted. Now for casting purpose, what are the material properties that are to be required? Now material properties, it usually usually cast iron is usually preferred for casting. Now because it has some good friction properties, its cost is relatively low. It is as well as easy to manufacture, as well as it has some thermal properties which are required. Now the next one is the heat dissipation. Now discs are usually slotted or usually provided with the holes. Now these are usually provided to reduce the amount of weight, as well as to dissipate the heat which is generated during this braking. So the next is brake caliper. Now brake caliper, it usually operates the brake pad which are located inside this. This brake pad tends to lock the wheel by it creates the friction between the disc and the brake pads. Now brake calipers, these are generally of two types. One is fixed caliper and another one is floating type. Now the fixed type is, it usually has two pistons on each of the side, and it is always remains fixed with the frame. Now next is a floating type. Now floating type, it usually has only one piston. Now next one is the service life of the caliper. Now how to find out that our brake caliper is being damaged, or there is some kind of problem? Now if the vehicle tends to pull on the one side, it may be one cause of failure. Now beside this, if there is a noise, rubbing, a metallic rubbing noise, it may also tend that the brake caliper is being damaged. If there is uneven brake pad wear, it also tends that the brake caliper has been damaged. Or sometimes you may find that there is leaking of the brake fluid. Now the brake fluid may leak out, so it is another factor. The next is the pedal assembly. Now the pedal assembly, it consists of an accelerator pedal. Now it is actuated by means of a throttle cable which is connected to the throttle body, which controls the amount of air which enters into the engine. Now next is the brake pedal, which operates with a hydraulic circuit to stop the vehicle. And the next one is the clutch pedal. Now the clutch pedal, it is operated by means of a clutch cable to engage or disengage the gear. Now all these pedals, these are designed as per the driver ergonomics, so that less effort is required to actuate this. The next is the tires. Now, now there are three sets of tires: a dry, wet, and intermediate. Now, as you can see in the figure, this is the dry type of a tire. It usually have slicks on it. It do not have any tread or grooves on it. Now, this is the wet type of tire which have tread patterns on it. Now, uh, if there is a wet condition, now we have to use these wet type of a tires, because these tires have treads on it, so that they can easily displace the water, and have a sufficient amount of contact between the road and the tire. Now usually if the dry set of a tires is used, it will experience the condition of hydroplaning, as it do not have sufficient amount of tread. Now during this condition, now there is no control over the vehicle. It is very hard to steer the vehicle during this effect of hydroplaning or aquaplaning. Now next is the service life of the tires. Now these dry types of a tire, these usually have less service life. It lasts for about 90 to 100 kilometers, and the wet tires, it usually has some more life than this. uh, for chassis, now rule book is an important aspect in terms of designing the chassis. So all the rules which are mentioned in the rule book must conform to the design. Now next is the triangulation. The triangle is the strongest structure, so it is mentioned in the rule book that the chassis should be triangulated. Now the next is the material survey. Now ASI 4130 and 1018, these are the two most widely used material for manufacturing of the chassis, as it provides greater amount of strength at a very low amount of weight. Next important term is about torsional stiffness. Now torsional stiffness, it directly affects the dynamic characteristics of the vehicle, now such as handling as well as rollover, etc. Now uh, it usually defines how rigid your chassis is when it deflects under certain amount of load. Now a stiffer chassis will always be preferred, as it provides advantage during the cornering. So your torsional stiffness matters while design. Now the next is the crash test. Now for the purpose of safety, simulation is carried out on some softwares. Now for this purpose, some basic literature is to be performed, which includes all the concept, right from what is impulse, what is momentum, etc. So the next one is the firewall. Now the firewall is an important aspect in terms of the driver safety, as it separates the cockpit and the engine compartment. It is important in terms of the technical inspection as well. It must satisfy all the rules which are mentioned in the rule book. The next is the seat. Now the seat is related to driver's ergonomics. Now it must be comfortable to the driver, so a practical setup was created to measure the various seat back angle that would aid the driver. Now as well as ruler analysis were performed to get the ergonomics. Next is the composites. Now for manufacturing of the seat, study of composite materials was performed. Various materials related to composites like FRP, carbon fiber, etc. was studied. Next is driver harness. Now basically there are three types of harness: 5-point, 6-point, and 7-point harness. Now all these harness should include a single release, as it is mentioned in the rule book, so that in case of emergency, driver can easily escape out of the vehicle. Now this type of harness, it also affects the position of the driver. The generally 6 point and 7 point harness, it consists of two anti-submarine belts. So it usually has a more reclined position than that of a 5 point harness. So the next one is the aerodynamic wings. Now normally the Formula 1 cars, these are usually known for their faster cornering speeds. Now this is usually achieved with the help of the aerodynamics, which usually is provided with these aerodynamically designed wings. Now what is the purpose of aerodynamic wings? Now firstly is to reduce the amount of drag. Now as you can see here, this is the front wing. Now in case of open wheel vehicles, now most amount of drag is created by these rotating wheels. Now the air is just allowed to pass over this wheel with the help of these front wings, as well as we can get the maximum amount of vertical load, that is the downforce. Now downforce is nothing but it is the vertical force which acts on these wheels, so that maximum amount of speed and maximum amount of traction can be obtained. Now uh, as well as we can balance the CG by adjusting the weight or the downforce of the front and the rear wings. Now aerodynamic wings usually are used to increase the cornering speed just by increasing the downforce and increasing the traction of the vehicle.
Let's take a look on the software which we use in our workshop. As you can see on the screen, we use CATIA, ANSYS, Hypermesh, Lotus, Creo, Ricardo, SimSolid, and SolidWorks. One by one, let's get some knowledge regarding the above software. Firstly, CATIA, in which we do the design of basic components and also the assembly of a vehicle. Then the next software is ANSYS, in which we do the analysis of every single part. For example, CV hub, brake disc, A arm, knuckle, etc. In this slide, you can see a short animation regarding the same. It is an CV hub which we use in a vehicle. Let's see a short example how to do the static analysis of any component. Firstly, we generate the CAT model in CATIA as I have told you earlier. Here we assign the material property. The material is AISI 4130. Here you can see the various properties such as density, Young's modulus, Poisson ratio, tensile yield strength, and tensile ultimate strength. After that, we import the geometry from the CATIA by using the .stp extension. Further, moving on, uh, hmm, then the next step is we do the meshing. It means dividing the complex geometry into the simple element and mesh influence the accuracy and the speed of the simulation. You can also give the element size for the meshing. Here we have assigned 2 mm as the meshing size. After that, we give the constraints such as force, fixed movement, fixed support, and movement. Blue part, here you can see blue part indicates the fixed support, and for the movement, we can also give the direction, that is whether it is clockwise or anti-clockwise. In the bottom left column, we assign the values regarding the same. And finally, the last step is to set the component for the solution. Right click, insert, and you can see the various operation. Uh, from this, we calculate the total deformation in the component, equivalent stress, and factor of safety. Total deformation, minimum deformation is 0 and maximum is 0.03974. Similarly, you can also see the result regarding the stresses. Stress tool, in this we calculate the factor of safety. Minimum is 3.16. You can also see the animation. Oh, wait a second, it's just taking some time. Hmm. Similarly, for the deformation, you can see hmm, red part indicates the most deformed part, whereas yellow part is the safe part. Hmm. In Hypermesh, we do the analysis of the whole vehicle by applying the various conditions, for example, torsion, etc. Also, we do the analysis of whole vehicle in Hypermesh and not in ANSYS. Next, Lotus. It is used for the vehicle suspension hard point and also the design and orientation of suspension bushes. For body paneling, uh, for body paneling, we use Creo software as this software is better for designing the body panels. Apart from this, Creo is best software to create the nose. We use Ricardo for our radiator. SimSolid is best for CFD, that is computational fluid dynamic. Complex problem involving the fluid solid, or fluid gas interaction. In our vehicle, we do the CFD for our front and rear wings. Lastly, we use SolidWorks for designing of the different parts of our vehicle.
Hello, I'm Gaurav Joshi. Currently, I'm working in Helical Auto Technology India Private Limited. I'm one of the founder member of Team Abhyuday Racers. Also, I was captain of TAR 1.0. I was also member of Team Abhyuday Racing for Baha event in 2015 and 2016. After Baha 2016, me and some of my friends decided to leave Baha team as we have got 2 years experience and also willing to give opportunity to other enthusiasts who wants to participate. All the team members and faculty advisors respected our decision. While discussing with one of my senior, I got to know about the Supra event. After we had some searching and discussion on the event and decided we can participate in it. Then we took a permission of our faculty advisor and went to event to see what exactly Supra is. And we were lucky enough to get entry in Buddha International Circuit on the day no outsider is allowed to enter. We have got some ideas about the event and formed a team. We purchased a whole KTM 390 bike for engine only and events occurred one after another. It was total new experience for me, as in past 2 years I was following someone's order or someone is making decision for me. But that time I was in those shoes where I have to give order and make decisions. The responsibility of the whole team was on my shoulder. But I had 5 more members to support me. We have heard that it is very difficult to clear technical inspection of Supra and also witnessed at the event in 2016. The one of the reputed college is also struggling to clear technical inspection in that season and unfortunately they are not able to clear it. So we have decided to strictly stick with the rule book and our major focus on to clear TA. We few having past experience of Baha, so some difficulties are easy for us. Making a vehicle is like giving birth to a child, but that period is too long. And once it is ready, you can't express that feeling. To make it possible, you have to spend sleepless nights, sometimes skipping lunch, dinners, but at the same time, you are having fun with the team. The memories we make during that time, those are unforgettable, and the experience we get is very much helpful in the outside world of the college. Working in team, tackling problems, analytical study on the problem, etc. The thinking process gets developed during this period that definitely differentiate you from others. You will not believe we had one issue on the day of the vehicle shipment, but together we solved it before ship. The Supra is just like a carnival, but those are of engineers. And most importantly, it takes place at the Buddha International Circuit. It is dream of many people to visit that place once in a life, but I got lucky to visit that place 4 times, 4 consecutive years. One when we went to know about the event, other when we have participated, and last 2 as I went technical inspector for the event in 2018 and 19 under alumni committee program. When we have started our technical inspection in 2017, they just told us some modifications. We corrected them. After that, we had some issues. We tackled them. Got into new ones, also solved them. Now, we all laugh by remembering all those moments. But at that time, the condition we were in was very bad. And finally, we have cleared the difficult technical inspection of the Supra. After that, our beast roared on the track of the BIC. That moment was memorable. In that year, our All India rank was 20th on debut among 120 participants. It is very important that you should know what you have learned from all the experience. So, these are some glimpses that I have experienced and I want each one of you to experience the same and learn from it. Thank you team for giving me opportunity to speak. Stay safe all. Bye.